And of course, with my luck, around 4 a.m., a woman calls the Ontario Provincial Police.
Control of his sports car in St. Catharines.
Enjoy the taste and flavor of a Tim Horton donut, the aroma of our coffee and the smile we save for you.
When you get the urge for freshly brewed coffee, freshly made donuts, head for your favorite donut shop, Tim Horton. We serve only the freshest coffee, donuts, Tim muffins, and Timbits, all with a fresh smile.
Alrighty guys, that might tell you where we're going.
Before opening his first donut shop in Hamilton, Ontario in 1964.
Everywhere in Canada you see Tim Hortons cups. So I'll talk a little bit about Tim Horton, but I want to take you over to his home. Now, he was born Miles Gilbert Tim Horton, and he played 24 seasons of professional hockey.
Horton at the blue line. Guard gets a ride to the boards from Horton.
Definitely an amazing hockey player. Now, he played for the Maple Leafs, Pittsburgh Penguins, New York Rangers, Buffalo Sabres, and he was named one of the 100 greatest players of all time. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about how he passed away and the tragedy of that night with the car accident when we go to his grave. And we'll go to his grave right after we visit his house. But let's go check out his house. Now, we're at a busy intersection here in Scarborough. And at one time, this wasn't all built up like this. And I'll bet you I'll even see 10 other Tim Horton cups thrown around by the time we get back to the vehicle. But it's a little bit chilly out today. They're selling sweet corn. They're gonna think I'm recording them. And I'm not, I promise. Alrighty, right across the street. Right across the street. That is the home of Tim Horton. And of course, with my luck, someone's just pulling in the driveway. So they're gonna wonder why I'm filming their house. But that's the home of Tim Horton, and that's where he lived right up until he passed away. So let's go across the street. That's the house right there. He bought the house in 1952 when he got married, raised his children here, and he lived here right up until he passed away. So this is it right here. Now, let's go over and I want to take you to his grave, tell you a little bit about more about what happened on that night and pay our respects. Let's go. Okay, so we're just heading back to the car and what do we see? Well, I guess it's a toilet. No, I'm not going to use the toilet. There's much too much traffic around. I'm not going to feel like I have privacy if I use that toilet. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Plus, it's a little chilly out. So, yeah, that's not going to work. I think I'll go inside somewhere. But anyway, let's go back to the car. Let's get in the vehicle and we will go to the cemetery, which is north of here. And north, I don't know. I don't know which way north is, but I'll put my GPS on and I'll find it. Alrighty guys, so I've shown you his house. I've told you a little bit about him and a little bit about how he died, but we are at York Cemetery here in Toronto, or close to Toronto, and I want to show you the grave of Tim Horton. There's the final resting place of Tim Horton, right there. Tracy down below to 2019. Lori, 1932 to 2000. TTFN Daddy-O, right there. There's pucks on top. A little statue that says Grandma, kind, caring, thoughtful, loving. You know, we hear about the legend and we hear about the restaurant chain that he developed, but you don't hear too much about what a talented hockey player he was. Now, although I had mentioned a little bit about him earlier, I'll tell you a little bit more about what happened in that early morning of February 21st, 1974. He had a Di Tommaso Pantera sports car that was given to him from the Buffalo management. He had played a game against the Leafs on the previous night. And on his drive back to Buffalo, he stopped at his office in Oakville and he was met there by his partner, Ron Joyce. Now, he phoned his brother Jerry, and Jerry recognized that Tim had been drinking and tried to persuade him not to continue driving. Even Ron offered to have Horton stay with him, but Horton chose to continue that fateful drive to Buffalo. Now, around 4 a.m., a woman calls the Ontario Provincial Police in Burlington because she observed a car going at a high rate of speed. Now, an officer observed the vehicle and activated his siren, but he lost sight of the vehicle. This is when everything happened. Now, Horton passed a curve in the road at Ontario Street, was approaching the Lake Street exit in St. Catharines, and he lost control. Now, his tire caught a recessed sewer, and it caused the car to flip several times. He had been thrown from the vehicle. He was found 123 feet from the car, and he was pronounced dead at St. Catharines General Hospital.
It was the early morning of February 21st, 1974, when Horton was killed in a horrific single-car accident. Horton was driving back to Buffalo on the QEW when he lost control of his sports car in St. Catharines.
There was no official public inquiry, and his autopsy was not made public. And they would not say whether he was intoxicated. It wasn't until a little over 30 years later when his autopsy was made public, and it revealed that his blood alcohol was twice the legal limit. I mean, no matter what the cause, it's such a tragic accident. And this is his final resting place. Such a talented hockey player and such a recognizable name that I know for Canadians, we live at Tim Hortons. So this is his final resting place. Alrighty guys, I'm glad I got to tell you a little bit about Tim Horton, the hockey player, the entrepreneur, and show you his final resting place here. I thank you for coming along with me. Always like to say life is a book. I want to read it with you, so we'll go on more adventures together. I thank you from kind of chilly Toronto. Peace and love. We'll talk to you soon.